Welcome back here to Boonville, New York. It's game 2 of the doubleheader, Boonville Lumberjacks versus the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs. And after Boonville took the first one by a 3-1 scoreline, we're back here for the second game. Eric Shepard, the man out on the mound for the Lumberjacks, delivers the first one off speed just outside for a called ball.
Yeah, Lumberjacks had a really impressive game 1, at least from the pitching standpoint. They were fantastic. It needs to see if the bats can keep up today.
This one chopped to the right side. That gets through. The second baseman guy dives for it but cannot get it, and that gets through for a single. So Jake Hardy is on. First man on for the Diamond Dogs in this game. That brings up Nolan Colby, the second baseman.
Yeah, Hardy, that's his first time getting on all day today. Struck out and had 2 errors. Got on, reached by an error 2 times in the last game. That's his first clean hit, I should say, today. Looking for a better performance in game 2.
Nolan Colby, the second baseman out of Fairfield University, stands in for the first pitch. That fastball's outside for ball 1. Pete Thamel reported earlier this week that the Coastal Athletic Association is in deep discussions with Fairfield about joining the league. That would take the CAA to a full 12-team member. Would be big for Hardy and Colby as the 1-0 pitch is in there. Fastball for a called strike. Colby did play in the first game here, had 3 at-bats. Had a single and 1 strikeout as he bats from the left side. Shepard checks back on the runner Hardy, but focuses. Pick back is not in time. That was a close one as the first baseman Farber almost tagged him out. 1-1 still the count on Colby. Colby came into the game batting .246 on the year. Shepard kicks and fires. This one swung on and hit into deep left field. Ranging back on it is Hill, who makes the catch. The runner Hardy has to scamper back to first, and there's the first out of the game. That brings up the left fielder Kyle Coleman.
Yeah, you don't see Will Hill in left too often, but nonetheless, it's his turn to play at left field as it's going to be Noah Reed in center getting some playing time. And then in right field, it's Jihad Guy. So little bit of moving around as there always is in these Lumberjack games, but Will Hill seems comfortable no matter where you put him in the outfield.
Yeah, first start out and left for Hill as the left fielder Coleman stands in from the right side. First pitch from Shepard. That fastball in there clips the outside part of the zone for a called strike. 0-1 the count. As we mentioned earlier, head coach Christian Griffin just trying to change things up with the defensive alignment, see what kind of bats he can get in there and make the right substitutions as another pick back by Shepard is not in time. Coleman out of Belmont University, another Division I freshman for this Diamond Dogs team. Played in the first game where he fouled out twice and grounded out 0-3 in the first game. 0-1 the count on the 5'10" left fielder. Here's the pitch from Shepard. Swung on and hit to the left side. That one gets through for a single. Smith dove for it but couldn't get it as Hardy advances to second. Runners on first and second for the designated hitter Brody Freaker.
And Mohawk Valley immediately finding success against Eric Shepard after seeing Jackson Baptist all day. It's a little different to say the least, and well, now there's 2 runners on, and it was a barrel to left from the second baseman Colby for the only out of the inning so far. He's got to buckle down when he faces Freaker and Crenshaw.
It hasn't been the best start of the year so far for the pitcher out there, Shepard, as here's the first pitch. That one swung and fouled off the catcher Bischoff. 0-1 the count as Freaker limps off to the left. That one might have gone off his shin.
But Shepard also didn't play very much with Kalamazoo this year, only recorded just a few innings really. Just not many at all. So the innings that he's gotten here in Boonville are more than he's pitched the entire season at Kalamazoo.
6.75 ERA so far in Boonville in just 2 starts, looking to improve as the umpire dusts off home plate as he waits for Freaker to get ready. He steps back in the right side and awaits the 0-1 delivery. Shepard still searching for his first win of the year in just 2 starts. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and missed right there. The fastball blown by Freaker, and he's quickly down 0-2. Freaker batting .327 so far this summer with the Diamond Dogs with a .448 on-base percentage, 17 hits, and 11 walks already on the season. Here's the 0-2 from Shepard. That one almost hits him in the head. He has to duck out of the way, and the count moves to 1-2 now.
You know, I don't mind that. If you have a pitch to waste, might as well back him off the plate if he's getting a little close now. Now you have more freedom to work the opposite part of the plate if that's where he wants to go.
So the count moves to 1-2 now on Freaker, who's struck out and had a hit in every game he's played against Boonville this summer. Here's the 1-2. That fastball just misses outside, and the count runs even now, 2-2.
I didn't miss by much, but missed nonetheless. Behind the plate is Seth Bischoff trying to frame that one and get it called for a strike.
And despite Freaker's .327 average, doesn't have a hit streak above 3 games. As this one, fastball misses upstairs, 3-2 the count now. Had a 2-game hit streak heading into the first game, but follows history right there and doesn't get one in the first game, so back down to 0. Just 1 RBI for the DH in the last couple games. Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit into left. Hill ranges back on it and makes the catch as both runners stay put. Throws it into the third baseman Smith, and 2 outs in the inning. That brings up the catcher Joe Crenshaw. And Brady, Crenshaw didn't have his best first game, but it was cut short.
Yeah, I mean, he was 0 for 2, and the reason he was pulled was because of a pretty, I don't want to call it an ugly swing, but ultimately a bad result from a 3-0 pitch, grounded back to the pitcher, which allowed Baptist to throw to home to not allow a single run to be scored. And I guess Steve Luby saw enough and pulled him right there. Allows him back for game 2, though.
So the best hitter for this Diamond Dog team stands in. First pitch is behind him. That gets to the backstop, and both runners advance. Hardy goes over to third, and Coleman goes to second. So 2 runners in scoring position now, 2 outs for the backstop.
Yeah, Eric Shepard taps his chest there saying, my bad. I think both to the catcher, Seth Bischoff, as well as the batter, Joe Crenshaw. There's obviously no ill intent there. Sometimes the pitch just slips out of the hands.
320 or 381 average so far for Crenshaw. He gets on base more than half the time, even with an 0 for 2 day in the first game. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Shepard. That one right down the middle, fastball in there for a called strike. Crenshaw had the day off. It was a day of rest for him in their last game played against Utica on June 20th, and didn't get too much play time in the first one, as the count is even 1-1. Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit right to the second baseman Guy, who makes the line drive catch, and that will end the inning. Mohawk Valley strands 2, and we head to the bottom of the first inning. Eric Shepard keeps it clean. It's 0-0 here in Boonville. We'll be right back. Back here at Dr. Robert Smith Sports Complex, it's the bottom of the first inning and a new pitcher on the mound to start this game 2 for the Diamond Dogs, but someone that the Lumberjacks have seen before, Brady.
It's Borzody. Gotta make sure I pronounce that correctly. It's Brzozy. Borzody is the pronunciation we're given. If we're wrong, of course, correct us. 3-pitch mix, fastball, changeup, slider. Fastball in the upper 80s. Goes to Monmouth College, and it's pitched a little bit here so far to start the season, not too much, but has amassed 4 appearances for 11 total innings, 5.73 ERA, an outdated stat, but he does have a loss as well.
1-0 on Davis is just high, 2-0 the count. Kanias Davis, the leadoff man out here, playing in right field. Played in the first game today, had 2 at-bats, was able to draw a walk, but also did strike out. Here's the 2-0. That one just clips the outside corner. Off speed is in there, and the count moves to 2-1. So far this year, Davis has only played Mohawk Valley one other time at the plate, as the 2-1 from Borzody swung on and hit back and out of play. 2-2 the count. Had 3 at-bats against Mohawk Valley and a loss. It was 2 hits and 1 walk for Davis. He's been a good addition to this lineup since he was added. Here's the 2-2. Swung on and fouled back and out of play, essentially to the same spot as the last one. Count remains 2-2. Has also pitched against the Diamond Dogs this year. Was able to go 1 inning with allowing no runs, no hits, no walks. Here's the 2-2 from Borzody. Swung on and hit into center field. That one is going to get down for a single. Dolan can't quite get it, and the first base runner of the game. That brings up the shortstop, Zeb Swangham.
Yeah, nice piece of hitting there, a little bit off the end of the bat, but gets in front of the center fielder, Jake Dolan. And that's exactly what the Lumberjacks need, is a first guy on mentality. Well, not only mentality, but to put it in play as well, as Kanias Davis just does.
So Swangham, another returner from the first game. He had 1 hit and 1 strikeout in that one. Stands in on the right side out of the UNC Asheville. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled way back and out of play. That one over the Boonville dugout.
Obviously, it's still early in the game, but what I appreciate is first pitch swings and ultimately just getting the bat off their shoulder. Had way too many strikeouts last game. I believe the total number was 14. Unacceptable. They have to be better this game.
Borzody kicks and fires the 0-1. This one swung to the backstop. 0-2 the count now. And 14 strikeouts in a 7-inning game especially is abysmal numbers. They were lucky that Baptist was able to go 6 innings with just 1 earned run. Carried them to that victory, really, as long as the go-ahead homer by Smith there in the 6th inning. Here's the 0-2. That one in the dirt there. Count moves to 1-2. Swangham with a 143 average and 238 OBP. His only 2 walks of the season came last week. He's finally been heating up a little bit here in the PGCBL, but he's down 1-2. Here's the pitch, swung on and hit to the left side. Picked up by the third baseman, and the double play is not completed as Swangham was able to beat it out over there at first. Streeter couldn't complete it in time, and that brings up the extra hitter, Big Michael Clarkson.
He hit it right at the third baseman, Streeter, and I actually thought Streeter was going to be able to turn the double play there for sure, but Zeb Swangham was at least fast enough to beat that out. But, I mean, a good piece of hitting, but Streeter was playing far enough off the bag at third that he was able to get to that ball as easily and throw it to second as quickly as he can. It's just a good thing that Swangham's fast.
First pitch here on Clarkson. That one, fastball taken outside, 1-0 the count. Clarkson out of Paris Junior College. He's currently uncommitted after graduating from there, but still playing with pride from his school. Didn't play in the first game here today, but did play against Utica on the weekend. Pick back at the runner, Swangham is not in time. Clarkson had 4 at-bats in that Utica game, struck out twice. Ultimately, he did reach base, but it was on a ball that would have been a single, but hit the runner, Masai Marshall, who was over at first. So ultimately was ruled as a fielder's choice. Still looking to really get going. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Borzody. That one taken, fastball way high. 1-1 the count now.
There's Eli Negron in the dugout, as he always does, glazing Michael Clarkson, giving him all of his props no matter what he does. Even on a swing and miss, he'll call it a warning shot.
These guys certainly do love to talk to Clarkson out there as the 2-0 pitch is swung on and hit into center field. Ranging back on it is Dolan, and that one is gone! Big Mike takes him deep, and the Boonville dugout explodes. It's a 2-run shot here in the bottom of the first, and Boonville takes a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, well, that really was a warning shot, is what that looks like. That ball was crushed off the bat. You knew it was gone. He loves finding that right center spot over there. He takes fastballs that way, and he punishes them. That's exactly what he does there, and I think Eli Negron was right when he calls that a warning shot, because that ball was crushed.
Clarkson took that one way, way deep right there. His third homer of the year ties Negron for the team lead. And it's a quick 2-0 lead here for Boonville. In steps the third baseman, Marcus Smith, who had a homer of his own in the first game, a go-ahead shot in the 6th inning, ultimately provided to be the deciding runs. First offering is in the dirt, 1-0 the count. Other than that one homer that he had, though, not too much for Marcus Smith in that first game. Next offering is swung on and missed, way out in front of that off speed, and the count moves to 1-1.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier the 3-pitch mix. His slider is also upper 70s, and you have to pair that with an upper 80s fastball from the left side. That's going to be hard to hit. Marcus Smith way out in front of the off speed. He'll have to make an adjustment here.
Here's the 1-1 offering. Swung on and hit high into left field, coming over into foul territory and making the catch is Coleman, who just was to the right of the foul line down the third baseline, and that's 2 outs in the inning. That brings up the designated hitter, Carson Beatty.
Marcus Smith sent that ball a mile high into the air. Coleman actually almost overran it. Ball was moving back towards his left when he got there, but gets the out, and that's really the important matter here.
So that brings up the big lefty Beatty, usually plays over at first as the first offering hits him in the back. Has to eat that one, but ultimately grants him a free pass, so Beatty is on. That brings up the left fielder, Will Hill.
Helps the on-base percentage as well. You know, back to Michael Clarkson, who just homered. When the Lumberjacks swept the Glens Falls Dragons in Saturday's doubleheader, I asked Coach, maybe prematurely, who let the Jacks get hot. His answer was Michael Clarkson. After the 4th straight win, the win earlier today in Game 1, I asked him who let the Jacks get hot. Answer is still the same. It's Michael Clarkson.
Clarkson with the only 2 runs scored in this one as the first offering on Hill is chopped foul near the third base coach, Christian Griffin. Count moves to 0-1. Hill just committed recently to Wharton Junior College out there in Texas. He's a Texas native himself from Humble, which is just a half hour from Houston, looking to stay local. Playing some JUCO ball. Originally played at the University of Texas, but didn't get any at-bats or any playing time. Ended up redshirting. Now on to a new home. He's down 0-1. Here's the delivery. That one inside right there. Off speed missed, 1-1 the count. Hill's a guy who really hasn't gotten going as much as we've expected up here, but homer in the Saugerties game last weekend was a massive step in the right direction for him. 1-1 delivery is checked on. They'll say he went. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, struggling a little bit this summer, but, you know, even though we're midway through June, a little past midway, it's still early, and I think he'll figure it out. He has to. He has a lot of loud contact, which doesn't scare me at all.
Chops this one down the first base line, but that's going to be foul, back and out of play. He told us after he hit that home run in the Saugerties game that working with head coach Christian Griffin on his swing has helped massively. He said that homer that he hit to left center was the first ball he's pulled like that since high school. So working on the swing out here and having success. Here's the 1-2. That one runs inside, almost hits him, gets out of the way, and 2-2 the count now.
Yeah, and Evan, if I can plug myself a little bit here, we had the opportunity to speak with Will Hill on his birthday just the other day, where you got to know a lot of his backstory and why he plays baseball, why he came here, his story at Texas. That entire feature story will be coming out very soon on the Lumberjacks social media.
2-2 is inside, the off-speed misses, and the count runs full. Lots of great stuff to hear in that feature story as well. A big story of how he almost quit baseball and how not quitting baseball ultimately led him to Boonville all the way from Texas.
A nice place to be.
Count is full on him here. Here's the pitch. Swings and hits this one high. That one's just going to escape the infield. It ranges into foul territory, but making the catch is the second baseman Colby, and that ends the inning. Boonville leads a runner stranded over at first. That was Carson Beatty, but not before Michael Clarkson opens this game up with a 2-run shot. We head to the top of the second after this short break. Back here in Boonville for the top of the second inning, it's still Eric Shepard out there on the mound for the Lumberjacks. The batter for the Diamond Dogs is the first baseman, Wesley Alfonso. Stands in from the right side for the first time today. Did play in the first game, however. First offering from Shepard is swung on and missed. Fastball got by him, 0-1 the count. Only had one at bat, did Alfonso. Had a double in that one as he replaced Joe Crenshaw after Crenshaw was hooked for swinging on a 3-0 pitch. He's down 0-1 right here. The next offering swung on and hit high, but that's going to get back and out of play. 0-2 the count now. Alfonso hasn't gotten a hit other than that double in the last 3 games. Has struck out in 10 of the 13 games that he's played in the PGCBL this summer. And he's down 0-2 on the verge of another one. Here's the delivery. That one hits him on the shoulder right there. And Shepard can't recover. Got ahead 0-2, and now a hit by pitch and Alfonso. That brings up the shortstop, Roberto Valdez. Valdez out of St. John's University, nicknamed Pop. Hasn't had too much of it. No homers so far in this PGCBL season. Just one double in 3 games played. Here's the first offering. Swung on and chopped down the third base line. That one gets out of play. 0-1 the count now. Hasn't played against the Lumberjacks. He reported pretty late. He's only played in the last 3 games for this Diamond Dogs team. Coming late from the Big East school, St. John's. Here's the 0-1 from Shepard. Swung on and hit up the middle. This one fielded by Swangam. No throw over to first, though. It was late from the second baseman, Guy. Looked like some miscommunication. Guy thought Swangam was going to tag the bag himself. Swangam thought Guy was going to cover. Ultimately, they get the runner at second, so Alfonso is sat down, but the runner Valdez does reach first. That brings up Aiden Streeter, the third baseman.
Yeah, Jihad Guy does not play second base very often. I mean, you can throw him at any position, but he's more comfortable in the outfield, at least a little bit of miscommunication there. What I thought was kind of funny is after that last hit by pitch, I believe it was Carson Beatty in the dugout chatting foul ball. And, in the time that we've been in the dugout with Beatty, that is a guy who loves, a total chatterbox. He loves to chirp the other team.
First offering on Streeter is above his head to the backstop. Bischoff collects it, but not before the runner Valdez advances to second. So a runner in scoring position with just one out here.
Yeah, it's his second pitch behind a batter to the game, of the game for Eric Shepard. Not something you really think you got to worry about, but if it continues to be a trend, something that will have to be limited when he continues to pitch this game.
Shepard was able to keep it clean in the first. They did strand 2 runners, however, a little uncomfortable for the righty. Next offering, swung on and hit into center field, but Swangham's got it. He collided with Jihad Guy right there. It looks like they just tapped legs, and both of them are okay. The runner Valdez cannot advance from second, and that one was almost a disaster.
Yeah, jam shot into almost no man's land out there in center field. Figured once I saw Swangham and Guy running towards it that someone would make the play or someone would call the other one off. I'm not sure they did collide, but at least it was very close to something that could have been very bad, both for the players and for the Lumberjacks.
Jake Dolan, the center fielder, steps in. First pitch from Shepard. Swung on and hit foul, back and out of play. That one escapes over the Lumberjack dugout. Dolan hasn't played for the Diamond Dogs yet this summer. This is his first appearance as he stands in from the right side. No scouting report on him. Here's the 0-1. That fastball clips the zone in there for a called strike. 0-2 the count now. Dolan did not play in the first game. First appearance of the year for the Diamond Dogs. Here's the 0-2. Checks his swing on that one. They'll say he went, and he's called down on strikes. That will end the inning. A 3-pitch K right there for Eric Shepard, and it goes 1-2-3 here in the top of the second inning. Lumberjacks batting on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. Evan Simbita alongside Brady Foxwell on the Lumberjacks Radio Network. Back here for the bottom of the second inning here in Boonville. It's a 2-0 lead for the Lumberjacks. Off of a 2-run shot by Michael Clarkson, in steps the big lefty Ian Farber, serving today as the first baseman.
You know, Evan, I feel like every time Ian Farber steps up, you always say the big lefty.
He is. Big lefty, 6'5", 210 as the first offering outside. Fastball misses, 1-0 the count. Seems like a lot of the first basemen here are big lefties. You've got Carson Beatty, who's another 6'5" guy from the left side. Next offering is in there, off-speed slider called at just at the outside part of the zone. 1-1 the count.
You know, some people would say I'm 6'5".
Are you 6'5"?
You're like 6'4" and like a half.
1-1 misses inside, the off-speed not in there. 2-1 the count now. Farber has battled for playing time. He hasn't gotten too much of it. Here's the 2-1. Off speed in there for a called strike. Slider right down the middle. 2-2 the count now. Started in the Glens Falls, the second game of the doubleheader last weekend. That was his first start in a week. As the 2-2 is in there. Fastball clips the outside part of the zone, and Farber is set down looking. That brings up the right fielder, Jihad Guy.
Well, Farber was an everyday first baseman, everyday DH, and everyday extra hitter variable of the Lumberjacks lineup to start the season. But once more guys like Argenis Lopez arrived and kind of, I don't want to say took his spot at first, but often gets more reps. And just as more people arrived, he's kind of been platooned.
First offering on Guy is a fastball. That one a little bit too high. 1-0 the count now. Guy out of Bruton Parker Christian University, the NAIA school. Next offering. Swung on and hit down the third baseline. That one foul. 1-1 the count.
Yeah, Jihad guy didn't get to play much at Bruton Parker, but the reason is funny, actually. He was complaining about it, is that the guy he was playing behind was 26 years old. That's
Next
NAIA ball for you.
Offering from Borzotti is swung on and missed the off speed. Got him fooled right there. Yeah, only not that much from guy in college. Played in 38 games, but only got 9 at-bats. It was a lot of defensive appearances from him as that next one fouled off. Count remains 1-2.
Yeah, he said it was the reason he felt the need to address it was because on the road, one of the road broadcasters in the PGCBL was pointed out and spent time discussing how confusing that was. Like 38 games but 9 at-bats. Well, dude was 26 years old.
1-2 just misses outside. Count moves to 2-2. Speaking of the NAIA, the Lumberjacks just added a new arm from the NAIA. He's a champion of that division. Jalen Fullwood just won it with Tennessee Wesleyan as the 2-2 is checked on, but that in there for a called strike. Second batter in a row set down looking, and that brings up Noah Reed.
Yeah, guy knew it. The off-speed pitch, the backdoor slider was the one that got him in.
Noah Reed.
Sometimes all you can do is just walk back to the dugout and acknowledge that you got beat by a pitch. Fullwood was actually considered to start today, but I think he'll be going on Friday against Amsterdam.
That'll be a big game, looking to end a 9-game winning streak from the Mohawks as the first offering on Reed is inside. That one hits him on his lead left leg, and he's on. So first base runner of the inning is Noah Reed. That brings up the 10-hole hitter, Seth Bischoff.
Noah Reed, a gym rat, as Garrett Albright says. You know, I asked him how much he benches, and I didn't get a single number, but what he told, like he didn't have a max for me. But what he did have was that he could rep 285 a while ago, and that didn't give me anything more after that. Doesn't talk a lot, really, from what I've found. But 285 was reps for him, so if that tells you anything.
Yeah, no weight listed for him, but at 5'11", lots of muscle on that frame. Got to think it's pretty high, but the backstop Bischoff is now in there. Last game played for him was the first of the doubleheader against Glens Falls, where he had 1 walk for an RBI. First offering is outside, fastball misses. Bischoff had hits in 4 of 7 games played this year and has reached base safely in 6 out of the 7 that he started in. He's been very reliable from behind the dish. Here's the 1-0 from Borzotti. Off speed clips the top part of the zone. Count moves to 1-1. Bischoff started the season on a 3-game hit streak, has had just 1 hit since then, however. Here's the next one. Swung on and missed out in front of that one, and the count moves to 1-2. His only 2 RBIs so far this year came against the Diamond Dogs. It was a 2-run homer. That was an away game, however, as Reed is caught in a pickoff. He slides in there, and he's safe. Beats the tag from the shortstop Valdez, and that was an improbable one right there from Reed, but the speed pays off.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really fast guy, so even in a pickoff situation, he can still beat you. The throw from the first baseman, Alfonso, really had to be perfect in order to get him, and it was too high, which allowed Reed to get under the tag, and I think that goes in the books. He's still on base.
So Reed over there at second now. Still 2 outs, 1-2 the count on Bischoff. Boonville leading by 2 runs here in the bottom of the second inning. Here's the next pitch from Borzotti as he stares down the runner. That one taken on the outside corner, and 3 up, 3 down, all of them looking on strikes here. Bischoff slams the bat in frustration, and they leave Reed stranded at second. That's going to be the end of the second inning. We go to the top of the third right after this. Back here in Boonville for the top of the third inning, it's Jack Hardy, the leadoff man here in this inning and in the lineup, the right fielder. Steps in against Shepard, who's had a good day so far. Struggled overall on the year as the first delivery is swung on and fouled to the backstop. Quickly
Mohawk
ahead
Valley
0-1.
batters are jumping on that first pitch, it seems. Lumberjacks were doing the same thing early. Sometimes the first pitch you get is the best pitch, so why not jump on it?
Hardy singled in his first plate appearance. Here's the 0-1. Off speed, just misses. That one looked to clip the high and away part of the zone, but just misses. 1-1 the count now on Hardy. Next delivery from Shepard. That one a little bit low. Fastball misses, and quickly 2-1.
You know, outside of the whole debacle from Nolan Colby back in the 6th inning of Game 1, I feel like the umpires have been pretty consistent today.
Here's the 2-1. Swung on and hit high, but that one gets back and out of play. 2-2 the count now. Hardy played in the first game here in the doubleheader, was able to reach base. Did have a strikeout, but the only time he got on was because of an error at short. Batting .361 so far this year with 26 hits. Leads the team in that category. That's why you have him in the leadoff spot. Here's the 2-2 from Shepard. Swung on and hit high, but that one's going to get out of play. Looked to be a homer if it was fair, but that one considerably foul.
Long strike.
Count remains 2-2 on Hardy, who doesn't strike out too much. Just 2 strikeouts in his last 11 games. Here's the 2-2. Swings and hits this one. It's a high chopper to Swingham, who can't find it. This one escapes into left field, and it's picked up by Will Hill, who quickly gets it back in. That one looked to be a tough read right there on Swingham, but probably still a play you'd like him to make.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of hesitated 3 different times. It's a slow chopper, which is actually pretty hard to read unless you get a favorable bounce. He could have played back for the short hop or ran in for the long hop, but ultimately never really decided and tried to make a little short glove side pick, and ball goes into the outfield.
Here's the second baseman, Nolan Colby, who fouls the first offering behind him. 0-1 the count now. Colby played in the first game, had a single and a strikeout in 3 at-bats. No one on the Mohawk Valley lineup got more than 3 in that game. Jackson Baptist kept it very clean. As here's the 0-1 from Shepard. That one high and away, 1-1 the count. Colby's had a career best 3 hits 3 times this season in the last collegiate season for Fairfield. Pick back from Shepard, and they've got him in a rundown. Farber throws over to second. Swangham's got it. Hardy is stuck, and Shepard makes the tag over at first. Had him in a pickle, and ultimately the pitcher, Shepard, tags him out. Now there's 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, probably shouldn't have been on base to begin with, but right there, Zeb Swingham, a little bit of redemption, chases him all the way down until there's nowhere to go, flips it over to Eric Shepard. Classic rundown gameplay.
So 1-1 on Colby, who now stands in with no runners on. Shepard a little bit freed by that one as the next delivery, a fastball. That one clips the outside part of the zone. 1-2 the count now. Colby batting .246 so far this summer in 19 games. He's been the everyday second baseman for this Diamond Dogs team. Shepard kicks and fires. Swing and a miss. He got him. Fastball outside and 2 outs in the inning. Shepard with his second strikeout of the day. That brings up the left fielder, Kyle Coleman.
Yeah, and a new addition to Hanson Aggregates Field is the strikeout whistle from the Yankees after each strikeout. It's got to give a little bit of, support or momentum to the Lumberjacks after each K.
Yeah. Here's the first pitch. Shows bunt. That one gets fouled down the third base line, however. 0-1 the count.
Evan, we might have some future Lumberjacks on the side of the first base dugout. We got to doing cranking out push-ups.
Lots of young kids here, school getting out recently, and that means for some of these day games, it's going to be a lot of a younger audience. Certainly can see that here. 0-1 the count here on Coleman, who showed bunt on his first pitch. Shows on the second one as well, but that one all the way to the backstop. That one nowhere close to being fair, and now down 0-2. Coleman out of Belmont University, a freshman from Sandy Springs, Georgia. Sandy Springs, I know you mentioned it pregame. Sounds like a mythical location.
Yeah, something straight out of Fortnite would have been my guess. Was there ever a Sandy something? There was a Salty Springs. Was there ever like a Sandy anything?
I can't remember.
Surely
Coleman.
there was.
Coleman down 0-2. Here's the pitch. That one outside. Fastball missed. 1-2 the count now. Coleman played in the first game in 3 at-bats, flew out twice and grounded out once. He's down 1-2 here. The pitch from Shepard. Swung on and hit to the left side. Picked up by Smith. Long throw is in time. Farber makes the pick, but no, he drops it. That one just escapes the glove. The throw would have been in time, but just peters out of the glove of Farber. And an error right there on the first baseman. That brings up the designated hitter, Brody Freaker.
Yeah, Farber doesn't play first base too often, so when you get a tough play like that, it's hard to make that play, and ultimately they rule that an error. That's 2 this inning, and Lumberjacks probably should be out of it already.
So 2 errors already in this inning on the shortstop and first baseman. Runner goes from first as this one hit into the gap, and this is going to be trouble for the Lumberjacks. Rounding second and going to third, and scoring is going to be Kyle Coleman. He goes first to home, and Brody Freaker in there with a stand-up double. The hit and run works to perfection, and the Diamond Dogs get one back. It's 2-1 here in the top of the third.
Yeah, that one was trouble the second it left the bat. An absolute barrel coming from Coleman into left center field. And with the way that he was running already, there was no way that he wouldn't come around to score.
So ultimately, Coleman goes down as an unearned run for Shepard, but the game cut down to a 1-run deficit here. That brings up the catcher, Joe Crenshaw. The University of Richmond product stands in. Here's the first pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike. 0-1 the count. Crenshaw in the Division I season had 13 games played as a freshman, only started in 2 of them, but was able to get 2 hits in 13 at-bats. Here's the 0-1. Swings and hits this one high, but it's going to escape out of play. 0-2 the count now. Crenshaw's gone a little bit cold as of late. Hasn't had a hit in his last 4 games, despite leading the team in batting average with .381. He's down 0-2 here. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back and out of play yet again. Barehanded catch almost made by a fan here, who steals the ball away from some children. Count remains 0-2.
I wouldn't say he stole that one. That one, he almost made a great play on it, a barehanded grab, and that's his ball all the way. And if anything, that's he beat out some little kids for it, because you got to be faster than that.
Here's the 0-2. That one in there, off speed, called for a strike, and that ends the inning. Crenshaw set down looking, and that will do it here for the top of the third. Diamond Dogs do plate 1, however, and they cut that deficit down to 1. We'll be back for the bottom of the third after this. Back to the top of the order here in the bottom of the third inning. It's the right fielder, Kanias Davis, in here for the Lumberjacks, who singled in his first plate appearance. Right fielder out of Alcorn State. Hasn't played the field too much this year, but it's been mostly in the infield when he has. Played over at third against Oneonta, over at second against Glens Falls. First offering is checked on. Appeal over to first. They say he did not go. 1-0 the count.
And that was kind of an issue in Game 1 and in previous games as well, when the home plate umpire doesn't even ask his partner if he went around. Right there, I'm glad to see he does at least have the humility to do so.
1-0 pitch is outside. The off-speed misses. 2-0 the count now on Davis. Davis had 2 at-bats in the first game, had 1 walk and 1 strikeout. Here's the 2-0. Taken off-speed in there squarely for a strike, so 2-1 the count now. Davis has mixed in pitching and hitting so far this year. Had 4 against Utica to close out that one as the 2-1 pitch is outside. 3-1 the count now. In his last 6 games, he's got 5 hits, 5 walks, just 4 strikeouts in the streak. He's been a huge addition. Here's the 3-1. Takes that one for a strike. Started moving over to first as if he walked, but is in there. The count runs full now.
Yeah, that one looked like a strike from here. Maybe he's trying to sell ball 4 there, but looked close at least.
Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and hit into right field. Making the catch is Hardy, and that is 1 out in the inning. That brings up the shortstop, Zeb Swangam.
Up to bat number 2, Zeb Swangam.
Yeah, Davis just got that one off the end of the bat a little bit. His first at bat when he hit the ball off the end of the bat, at least he went to center field where it was a clean single right there. It was hung up long enough for Hardy, the right fielder.
So Swangam stands in now. Was reached in the first inning on a fielder's choice. Here's the first offering from Borzotti. That one taken in the dirt. 1-0 the count. In the first game here today, Swangam had 1 hit and 1 strikeout in 2 at-bats. Ultimately only got 2 batting in the latter half of the lineup in a 7-inning game. Here's the 1-0. That one in there. Off-speed called for a strike, so 1 ball, 1 strike the count now.
Yeah, Borzotti's off-speed has been working all game. I think it's his go-to pitch at this point, honestly. They're kind of ready to jump on the fastball.
Here's the 1-1. Swung on and hit into left field. This is going to be a long one. Coleman ranging to his left and making the catch on the warning track. That's a long out right there for Swangam, but it's out number 2, and that brings up the home run hero from the first inning, Michael Clarkson.
You know, as I was saying, they're ready to jump on the fastball. That's what Swangam does right there. Just misses warning track pop, you could say, and well, hits to the deepest part of the yard. Ultimately, a summer at-bat that you're not mad about. It's a barrel, but to help out the Lumberjacks, you want that one to just go a little bit further.
So it's Clarkson, who had a 2-run homer in the first inning, stands in from the right side. First pitch, he's in there for a strike. Head coach Christian Griffin hypes him up from that third base coach position that he usually stands at. Here's the 0-1. That one down low for a ball, and Borzotti's been working very quickly here today. He's been fast pitching the hitters. It's been working for the most part, except for 1 pitch against Clarkson. Here's the next delivery. Swung on and hit to the left side. That one gobbled up by the third baseman, Streeter. Throw over to first is in time, and that will end the inning. Lumberjacks go 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the third. We're almost halfway done. As we head to the top of the fourth, we'll be right back on the Lumberjacks Sports Network.
Wesley Alfonso.
Wesley Alfonso, the first batter here for the Diamond Dogs in the top of the fourth inning. It's still Eric Shepard out there for the Lumberjacks, who surrendered a run in the last inning, but it's still a 2-1 lead for the Lumberjacks. Here's the first offering. Swung on and missed there from Alonso. Fastball blown by him, and we'll clip the count quickly 0-1. So far today, Alfonso was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. Next delivery is swung on and chopped right in front of home plate, picked up by the catcher Bischoff, but ultimately slips, loses his footing there, and it'll be an infield single there for Alfonso. One runner on for the shortstop, Roberto Valdez.
Yeah, swinging bunt, but put it in the exact perfect spot that he needed to. Well, Seth Bischoff, there was no way he could have a throw there. Shepard, likewise, there was no way anybody was getting it out there. So clean single, not the prettiest, but a single nonetheless.
So Alfonso on safely for the second time here today. That brings up Roberto Valdez, who grounded into a fielder's choice in his last at-bat. Looks over to third base, trying to get the sign from his coach, Steve Luby, and eventually he does. Steps in on the right side now. Here comes the first offering. He shows bunt, and then bunts that one way back and out of play. Popped that one up, and the count 0-1 now. Marcus Smith, the third baseman, pinching in now in recognition of that bunt. Runner on first, Alfonso does have some good speed, though. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Shows bunt yet again. That one bunted foul off of the catcher Bischoff, and 0-2 the count now. We've seen a lot of bunts here today from the Diamond Dogs, but they haven't really been working out too well.
No, I mean, I believe they're yet to put one. I mean, the best bunt of the day really just came from Wesley Alfonso right there by getting on top of the ball. I believe they're yet to put one in play for its intended purpose.
So 0-2 on the shortstop, who hasn't put a bunt in play yet in this at-bat. We'll see if he squares yet again. Still no outs in the inning. Runner on first is Alfonso. Here, check back from Shepard is not in time. Alfonso dives back in there head first, and he's safe. Valdez has only played in 3 previous games this year, batting .250 with 2 hits in 8 at-bats. Here's the 0-2. Doesn't bunt on this one. He pops it up into shallow left field. Swinging backs up on it and makes the catch. That's out number 1 in the inning, and that brings up the third baseman, Aiden Streeter.
Up to bat, number 29, Aiden Streeter.
Streeter in 7 games this year is batting .267. Where he excels is the walk, though. He's got a .450 on-base percentage with 5 drawn walks in just 7 games. Popped out to short in his first at-bat here today. Here's the first offering from Shepard. That one inside, backs him off the plate a little bit. 1-0 the count. Last game played for Streeter was all the way back on June 19th against Glens Falls, where he had 1 hit and 2 walks in the win. Here's the 1-0. That one up high, called for ball 2. Streeter, a righty out of American International College. That's Division II baseball. Shepard kicks and fires. That one in there for a called strike. Fastball clipped the inside part of the zone, and the count moves to 2-1 now. Streeter with 4 hits this year, none of them for extra bases. Just 1 RBI on the year. Here's the 2-1. That one in there for a strike as well. Fastball clicks the inside top part of the zone, and the count goes from 2-0 to 2-2, all even here. Shepard checks back on the runner Alfonso, but ultimately decides to pitch. That one just misses. Boonville dugout thought that was a called third strike, but instead the count moves full.
No, I wasn't able to get that call. Didn't miss by a whole lot, but again, I think the umpire's been pretty consistently not giving him the outside part of the zone, so you got to work more inside if you want it.
Here's the payoff pitch from Shepard. Swung on and hit into left field. This is a long one. Will Hill ranging back on it, looks up, and it's gone. 2-run homer for Aiden Streeter. His first extra base hit of the year, and it comes at a good time for the Diamond Dogs. They take a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, he turned on that one absolutely, and I thought it was kind of interesting. The third baseman Smith didn't even turn around. He knew he got it. Will Hill moves back to left field, but that ball was crushed, and that's a bomb, really, to say the least, from Streeter, who didn't play the first game. I wonder if he could have had a similar impact in game one.
So the first 2 earned runs on Eric Shepard's day, but now quickly in the hole in this game. Mohawk Valley came out of nowhere to take the lead. It's been 2 home runs as the next batter, Dolan, chops this one to third, but ultimately it gets through. Smith couldn't get it. Swingham picks it up, but there's no throw on the left side and an infield single there.
I mean, at this moment, they're still very well in the game, so you can't now be beat by silly mistakes like that. If you give up a home run, so what? It happens. It's part of the game, but now you can't let it spiral into something a lot more.
6th hit allowed on the day for the pitcher, Shepard. There's still 1 out in the inning with a runner on first. It's the right fielder, Jake Hardy. Hardy so far today has reached base twice. Hit a single and walked. Umpire says play ball. Shepard ready to deliver the next one. First offering. Swung on and hit. That one's going to get out of play over the Boonville dugout. Foul ball, 0-1 the count. Hardy did play in the first game. Was able to reach on an error by the shortstop, but that was all from him. Had 1 strikeout against Jackson Baptist as well. Here's the 0-1 delivery. Checks back at the runner on first. Called safe in there is the center fielder, Jake Dolan. 0-1 remains the count. Hardy has had a homer in his last 2 games as that one runs inside on him, called for ball 1. 1-1 the count. He's been on a tear so far this year. He's 2 homers in his last 2 games, RBIs in his last 3, with 5 of them in total over the span. Batting .361 on the year. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back and out of play. Count moves to 1-2 as everyone scampers to pick up the ball. Leads the team in hits with 26, added his 27th already in this game. 7 of them for doubles, 2 of them for homers. He's been on a tear, slugging nearly .600. Here's the 1-2. Swung on and hit to the left side. That one gets above Smith's head, and that's going to be another single. Hustling to third is the center fielder, Dolan, and he's going to be in there safely. A stand-up double right there for Jake Hardy, and 2 runners in scoring position for the second baseman, Nolan Colby.
Yeah, we've seen what Marcus Smith can do at third base. He's a really solid fielder, but right there was literally no opportunity for him to make a play on that ball. A really hard-to-hit line drive right there, and now Shepard's in a little bit of an uncomfortable situation. I wonder if anyone will get sent to the bullpen in case he can't manage it, but right now, I mean, he's still pitching really well. It'll be 2 earned runs, 3 runs total in 3 1/3. That's really not a bad outing, at least in the PGCBL terms, so depends on what happens here, and if he can get out of it, I say continue his leash.
Still 1 out in the inning, runners on second and third. Colby steps out as the umpire calls time here. So far in this game, Colby flew out to the deepest part of left in his first at-bat, struck out in the second. Hasn't been too good today. Had 1 hit in the first game, as the first offering is just inside. 1-0 the count. Did have a hit in that first game, but also struck out. On the day, he's just 1 for 5 as he stands in from the left side. Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit to the Boonville dugout. That one foul, and 1-1 the count now.
Yeah, the entire infield is in. possibly to get a throw at home or at least to back the runner so he doesn't advance to home plate.
Colby's played all 4 games that the Diamond Dogs have faced off against the Lumberjacks this year. Here's the 1-1. That went in there for a called strike. 1-2 the count now. And Colby hasn't been the most productive at the plate. He's been a solid hitter in 19 games with a .246 average, but has struggled to put the ball in for extra bases. Here's the pitch. That one gets by the backstop Bischoff, and scoring from third is the runner Dolan. Moving over to third is Hardy, and it's a 4-2 lead now for the Diamond Dogs. I'll call that one a wild pitch on Shepard, so just 1 runner in scoring position now for Colby. Here's the 3-1. Swung on and hit foul. That one escapes play yet again, so 3-2. The count runs full now. Colby, a sophomore from Amherst, New Hampshire. Not too far from home, but not too close either. Here's the payoff from Shepard. Swung on, and that one's going to get out of play yet again. Players from the Diamond Dogs dugout ultimately run over to collect that foul ball. They'll throw it to the kids, and the count remains full.
Everyone rocking green and yellow at the ballpark today.
Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and hit down the first base line, but that one foul yet again, so pitch number 7 coming up in this at-bat.
Yeah, Colby absolutely making him work in this at-bat. It's hard to get pitches by him. He fouls everything off, and, you know, with 3 balls, all he needs is a pitch he doesn't like, and bases are loaded.
Here's the 3-2 for the 3rd time. Swung on and hit high into right field. Coming in on it is Davis. He makes the catch. The runner tags from third. Throw is in time. They got him. What a throw from Kanias Davis out there and right, and he guns him down at home, and that will end the inning. A double play right there on the fly out from Colby, and they escape with just 3 runs of damage. We go to the bottom of the 4th here on the Lumberjack Sports Network. We'll be right back. Back here for the bottom of the fourth inning, new arm out on the mound for the Diamond Dogs.
Yeah, it's going to be Jack Henning, who was just playing third base about 2 hours ago for the Diamond Dogs. Now he's on the mound. He's been struggling a little bit, sub-9 ERA, 8.44, 3 appearances for 5.1 innings pitched. His best came against Boonville on June 7th, where he closed out the Lumberjacks in 1 innings pitched and didn't allow a hit or a run. With a 2-run lead right here, Lumberjacks have the ability to jump on this arm, but depends what Marcus Smith can do.
Here's the 1-0 delivery. Checks on that one, but did not go. That one down low, 2-0 the count. Henning, as you mentioned, played in the first game over at third base, ultimately struck out, grounded out, and flew out. Not a great day at the dish. Let's see what he can do on the mound. Here's the 2-0. Swung on and skied high, but that one backing out of play. Hits just about a couple feet in front of us. And the count moves to 2-1 now.
Yeah, I got to make sure our camera setup is okay. It's getting a little close to that. Let me make sure that it is okay. Yeah, we're good.
The batter, Marcus Smith, the third baseman, so far flew out to left. That curveball misses inside, and the count moves to 3-1. Smith hasn't played against Mohawk Valley yet this year. He didn't arrive in time to play in any of their first 3 games, but did play in the first one here today. Here's the 3-1. Swings and fouls that one to the backstop. Count runs full. Smith was able to hit the go-ahead homer in the 6th inning of the first game. Ultimately provided the difference with 2 RBIs. That was his only hit on the day, but ultimately the only one that mattered for the Lumberjacks. Just a 208 average on the year. Here's the payoff pitch. Swings and hits this one high. That one escapes out of play yet again. So the count remains full. They'll do it once again. Had his first multi-hit game in the last one against Utica. Also on his first hit streak of the year. Now currently sitting at 3 games with the homer from the first one. Here's the 3-2 for the second time on Smith. That one outside, fastball misses, and Smith is on for the 4th game in a row. He walks here, and that brings up the DH, Carson Beatty.
Yeah, Marcus Smith, I feel like every time he swings the bat, it looks like he's swinging for the fences. I'm not saying he is, but he's kind of like a physically empowering guy who swings with a lot of force every time. That every time he swings the bat, it looks like he's trying to go yard. And he does about half the time.
So Henning puts his first man on. The first offering on Beatty is way up high, 1-0 the count. Beatty bats left, throws right, typical for the lefty first baseman. Freshman out of Commerce Township, Michigan, calls time. He's only played in 3 games so far for the Lumberjacks this season. 7 at-bats with just 1 hit. He does have 3 RBIs, however.
Yeah, that all came from the Glens Falls walkathon.
Yeah, 1-0 is in there for a called strike. 1-1 the count now. Beatty has defended the plate well so far this year. Just 3 strikeouts to 2 walks. Here's the 1-1 from Henning. Swung on and hit up the middle, diving for it, but not making the play is Valdez, and runners stop right there. Smith stops at second, but it's a single right here from Carson Beatty. 2 men on for Will Hill.
Up to bat number 7, Will Hill.
Yeah, there's a little bit of shift going. There was a little bit, not I don't call it a shift, but Valdez was playing more up the middle. I thought it was very possible he would get to that ball. Just hit too hard off the bat of Beatty. Even a full extension dive wasn't able to get there. And now it's a pretty good RB opportunity for Will Hill,
So
who,
Beatty,
as we keep saying, is yet to make that big impression.
Beatty on for the 2nd time today. Was hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance and singled right there. Here's the first pitch on Hill, who squares for a bunt. That one in the dirt. Throw back for Smith is not in time. That one was close. I think that might have been a hit and run with a bunt right there, but ultimately everyone's safe. 1-0 the count.
Yeah, the throw was pretty much perfect back to second base. The only thing is, Valdez, I assume, was waiting for the bunt to be applied, so he wasn't in perfect fielding possession, and Marcus Smith barely able to get under the tag.
Here's the 1-0 on Hill, who swings and hits this one into left field. Ranging back on it is Coleman, who makes the catch. Both runners stay where they're at, so 1 out in the inning. That brings up the first baseman, Ian Farber.
Up to bat number 31, Ian Farber.
Farber, last game he played was the second of the doubleheader against Glens Falls, was ultimately one of the many batters who was able to draw a walk and get an RBI in that one, but hasn't played since then. Even that start in the Glens Falls game was his first in just about a week, as the first offering is outside for a called strike, curveball in there. Farber has 9 games played. A lot of those were at the beginning of the season. Only 6 starts and 3 appearances as a pitcher. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and missed. That one off speed got him going, and quickly down 0-2 here. Farber has struck out in every game he's played this year except for that Glens Falls game where he wasn't even really given an opportunity to. He's down 0-2 right here. Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit into center field. This is deep, but it's going to stay in the ballpark. Dolan makes the catch, and Smith does not tag from second. So 2 straight flyouts mean the runners stay put at first and second. That brings up the second baseman, Jihad Guy.
Yeah, that went off a little bit off the end of the bat. Farber, a big guy, a strong guy, hit it into center field, but Dolan didn't have to move too far back to make the play. I like Marcus Smith faking the tag, but I mean, by the time he got back to second base during his fake, the ball was already in Valdez, the shortstop's glove.
So that brings up Guy, one of the best contact hitters in this lineup. Just 2 strikeouts in 6 games played so far this year for the second baseman. Time called by the home plate umpire. Looks like Guy wanted to think that one over. Henning, the pitcher, his attention is firmly fixed on Marcus Smith over at second. He hasn't even looked at Jihad Guy yet. Finally does to get the sign from his catcher.
This would be a big RBI opportunity for Guy. I hope he comes through here.
That one is in there for a called strike, 0-1 the count. Guy hasn't had too many RBIs this year. He's got 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Decent clip considering the amount of hits that he has, but was the only hitter to not reach base in that second Glens Falls game last weekend. Henning kicks and fires. That one gets to the backstop, and the catcher can't find it. Crenshaw finally finds it, but not before Marcus Smith goes all the way from second to home. Farber goes from first to third, and Guy is down there. I think that one hit him, so the runners will have to go back.
Man, he's got to do the same thing the other guy did and pretend it didn't hit you.
So the runs are taken off the board for Boonville. Everyone was a little confused at that one. Ultimately, that one hit Guy. It looked like high on the shoulder, maybe even in the helmet. So the bases are loaded now for the center fielder, Noah Reed.
Up to bat number 5, Noah Reed.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, similar to last game when Nolan Colby was hit by the pitch, but still allowed the run to score. Maybe that's what you got to do in that situation, but no, I mean, I guess get on. Now it's Noah Reed's opportunity. Now would be his opportunity to, like, seriously make an impact on the team.
So the bases juiced here, 2 outs, crucial moment here. First pitch from Henning, swings and hits this one and fouls it back and out of play. Noah Reed himself was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. Probably wouldn't mind another one of those right here just to plate another run, but he's down 0-1 here. Reed had 2 hits in the loss to Glens Falls. That was just over a week ago. That makes up half of his hits on the season. 0-1 is swung on and missed, and he's quickly down 0-2 here. Reed has struggled with the strikeout so far this year. He struck out in 5 of the 6 games he's played. Had a season-high 3 Ks against this team, Mohawk Valley, on June 7th. Awaits the delivery from the righty Henning. Here it comes. Swings and fouls this one back and out of play. He stays alive, but the count remains 0-2.
Henning really has him up in the count here, 0-2. He can pretty much go to anything here, whether it's back to the fastball, off speed in the dirt. He has one to waste. Obviously, he can't let it go to the backstop, but I'd be surprised if he throws him a strike here.
Bases still loaded, 2 outs here for Noah Reed.
Or at least a hittable pitch.
Here's the pitch from Henning. Swung on and hit into center field. Ranging back on it is Dolan, and he makes the catch to end the inning. So Boonville leave them juiced. It's still a 4-2 Diamond Dogs lead here heading to the top of the 5th inning. It's almost crunch time here in Boonville. We'll be right back. Back here in Boonville, Eric Shepard, his day is done. Final line for the righty. 3 innings pitched, allowed 7 hits. Ultimately didn't walk a batter, though. 1 hit by pitch, 3 Ks for 3 runs. Only 2 of them earned, but a new arm out on the mound for Boonville.
Yeah, it's Devon Abaga, who in his last performance against Oneonta, the Outlaws, that was 5 days ago on the 19th. He appeared for 2 innings. It was mostly mop-up duty, gave up 3 runs, 2 of them earned, and that's kind of how a lot of his performances go, where he's put in mop-up duty. Here, you have a 2-run deficit right now, so what he needs to do is have a scoreless frame here, which he has done a few times. Did that against Utica before, and when he pitched against Mohawk Valley the last time, which was the first game of the season actually, he went 0.2 of an inning and didn't give up a run here, so that's the type of performance they'll hope to see from him tonight.
So Shepard gets you 4 innings, 4 runs, with only 3 of them being earned. That brings up the next hitter, Nolan Colby, for this Diamond Dogs lineup. So far today, he's reached twice, once on a single, once on an error by the first baseman. First pitch in the dirt by Devo, want to know the count.
Yeah, between game 1 and game 2, a lot of people, I guess fans is the right word, who came down talking to Devo, talking about his YouTube channel, Devo Day. It's getting pretty popular in the Boonville area. People like following along to his daily vlogs of life in Boonville, life playing for the Lumberjacks, all the above.
The 1-0 misses. Here's the 1-1, and that one in the dirt. 2-1 the count now. Coleman, so far in this PGCBL season, he's hitting .238. This one hit right to the shortstop, Swangham, who dives on it, makes the throw over to first in time, and he got him. Diving play right there by Zeb Swangham is out number 1 in the inning, and that brings up the designated hitter, Brody Freaker.
I don't exaggerate when I think that's the best play we've seen from any Lumberjack all season long. Zeb Swangham had to fully extend to get to that ball and then throw from his knees all the way to first base to get the runner in time, and I actually can't believe he did that. That was fantastic from Zeb Swangham.
So the Division I shortstop shows exactly why he's at that level, not in the transfer portal. He loves it over there. Here's the first pitch on the designated hitter, Freaker. He swings and misses on that one. 0-1 the count. Freaker in the first game had just one hit, which was a single, had 2 ground outs as well. Ultimately, he's played all 4 games against the Lumberjacks as that off-speed misses inside, 1-1 the count.
Yeah, and he had the RBI double that set the tone earlier. Since then, Mohawks put up 3 unanswered after that.
1-1 is in there for a called strike. 1-2 the count now. Freaker is slashing .429 with a .714 slugging percentage against Boonville this summer. OPS over 1. Here's the 1-2. That one just tops the zone. 2-2 the count. An OPS at 1.181 with a homer and a double, 5 RBIs. Here's the 2-2. Swings and hits this one into center field. Reed got a step in, but now moves back and makes the catch in right center field for out number 2. That brings up the catcher, Joe Crenshaw.
Number 34.
Yeah, and it's always scary with those high fly balls here at night. I mean, I, of course, am not an outfielder. I don't get to see what it looks like from their perspective, but it seems that a good amount of the time, or at least too often the case, Lumberjacks lose the ball in the outfield, and every time you see them trailing over, not fully sprinting, getting over to their spot, it's a little scary to see if they see the ball or not.
First pitch is in the dirt on Crenshaw, 1-0 the count. Crenshaw so far in this one popped out to second and struck out. He hasn't been the most productive here today after starting the season to lead this team in average OBP and slugging. Next one is swung on and fouled down the third base line, 1-1 the count. Had the day off against Utica on June 20th. That was their last game before today. Just a reset, but still has no hits in his last 4 games. This would be 5 now. Just 1 multi-hit game in his last 9, as that one down low. 2-1 the count. Did start off the season hot. Had a period from June 2nd to 4th with 11 hits in 4 games. As here's the 2-1. That one in there for a called strike. Fastball clips the top of the zone, 2-2.
You know, Devo's command has gotten a lot better since the beginning of the season, and his fastball is still low 90s. It's hard to hit.
Here's the 2-2. Swung on and hit into center field. That one gets down for a single. Reed collects it and throws it back, but Joe Crenshaw breaks the slump there and gets on with a 2-out hit. That brings up the first baseman, Wesley Alfonso.
Yeah, right on cue. Devo goes to the off-speed pitch, the slider. It catches too much of the plate for Joe Crenshaw. Very good hitter, as we know, who lines that right back where it came from into center field for a base hit. Now Devo just has to get one more out. It's a scoreless frame.
Here's the first offering as Crenshaw goes. Throw over from Bischoff is into center field. That one, just a little bit of contact on it from Guy, batted it down and doesn't escape too far into the outfield, but a stolen base from Crenshaw regardless. Runner in scoring position here for Alfonso, who's already reached twice here today. Once on a single, once on a hit by pitch.
Yeah, throw is upstairs no matter what, but Jihad Guy is not the tallest on the team. Probably the shortest, I gotta imagine.
Guy
so it's hard
stands
for
at
him to get to those balls
5'7",
in the air.
but did get high up to grab that one. An impressive leap from the Georgia native. Here's the 1-0 from Abaga. That one in the dirt, 2-0 the count now. Alfonso played in the first game as well, only had 1 at-bat as he came in for Joe Crenshaw, who currently stands on second. Alfonso hit a double in that first game. Here's the 2-0. Swung on and missed right there. Blew the fastball by him, as you said, in the lower 90s. And gets him going right there. 2-1 the count now. Alfonso still had 2 hits. Had no hits in his last 2 games before playing today. Now he's got 2 in 2 games as the 2-1 is up high. That one misses. 3-1 the count now. Alfonso's done well to avoid the strikeout here today. He's struck out in 10 of the 13 games he's played in this year. Looking to avoid another one here with a 3-1 count. Here's the pitch from Abaga. That one in there for a strike. Clips the top inside part of the zone, and the count runs full now with 2 outs. The runner Crenshaw will be going from second, and a single would likely score 1 here. Alfonso doesn't draw the walk too much. He's just got 3 on the whole year, but he's got an opportunity here. Payoff pitch. Checks his swing on that one. They'll say it was a foul tip, and that ends the inning. Strike 3 call right there. Alfonso's confused. He knows nothing of it, but it ends the inning. Abaga sets him down and keeps it clean here. It's still a 2-run deficit for the Lumberjacks. They'll bat in the bottom of the 5th after this. Back here in Boonville, it's getting to be close to crunch time here for the Lumberjacks. It's a 2-run deficit heading into this bottom of the 5th right here.
Yeah, it's Bischoff, and then the lineup flips over. His job right now, effectively, is just to get on base in any way possible. That way the top of the order can bat with a runner on.
It's still Jack Henning out there pitching for the Diamond Dogs. Bischoff tasked with just getting something going for this Lumberjacks team. The only runs they scored were in the first inning off of a 2-run Michael Clarkson homer. But since then, it's been pretty quiet for the Lumberjacks. Bischoff stands in from the right side. Here's the pitch. That one hits him in the back. Off speed, got away from Henning. And he does his job right there. The lineup flips over, and they've got a man on first right there. Perfect baseball from Seth Bischoff.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I said. Get on base by any means possible. That's now the second hit by pitch in 3 batters. Guy, and then Reed flew out, and then back to Bischoff, who's hit by a pitch. So I don't want to say, it's too early to say like he doesn't have he has command issues, but I mean, got to be a little questionable. And if the Lumberjacks can get guys on, I'm sure they'll take the bruise.
Here's the next pitch on Kanias Davis, the next batter. That fastball in there for a strike. 4th hit by pitch of the game so far, and we're just in the 5th inning as Kanias Davis stands in. 5'9" right fielder out of Alcorn State. Here's the 0-1. That one down low. Fastball misses. Count moves to 1-1. In the first game here today, he had 2 at-bats, was able to get on with a walk, but also did strike out. So far today, he reached with a single and flew out to right. Here's the pitch. That one in the dirt. Gets away from the catcher Crenshaw. He can't find it, but ultimately picks it up. Bischoff can't advance on that one.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he was able to not only get himself in scoring position, but eliminate the double play threat by getting to second base there. But what can you do?
Henning gets ready for the next pitch. 2-1 the count on Kanias Davis. Runner on first. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. That one hits him. That one was a fastball. Looked painful as it ran in on Davis, but he won't mind. First and second here for Noah Reed. Or Zeb Swangham, excuse me.
Number 2, Zeb Swangham.
Well, looking at this Diamond Dog infield, the shortstop, Roberto Valdez Jr., of course, comes from St. John's in the Big East. And, well, I wonder if his connection, or if he has one at all, to Dylan Mitchell, who just got drafted by the Boston Celtics, 40th overall.
Might be some connections right there. It's a meeting at the mound, however, and not sure. This probably won't be the day for Henning, but just need to calm him down off 2 straight hit-by pitches. It's a good man to have at the plate. Zeb Swangham, the next batter. He hasn't gotten a hit yet today. Flew out to left and reached on a fielder's choice in this game. Did have a single in the first matchup today, however, and really needs one here. We talked to head coach Christian Griffin about how massive these 2 wins would be for this team, especially against the second-place team in the Diamond Dogs.
Yeah, and if they beat him again, I believe they wouldn't hold second place anymore. I believe that would mean that the Saugerties Stallions would leapfrog them in the standings, and Lumberjacks would leapfrog the Utica Blue Sox.
Yeah, 2 massive games in Saugerties. That'll be on Sunday. Doubleheader down in Saugerties. Only one previous matchup between those 2 teams. The Lumberjacks took it 8-4 here. That was off the back of a great Jackson Baptist start, however. They won't have him going in that one. Here's the batter, Swangham, who stands in from the right side. Infield corners are pinched in. First offering is way up high. Fastball misses. 1-0 the count. Swangham with 10 RBIs so far this year on just 5 hits. That's because 3 of them have been for extra bases, and if he could get one right here, that would be huge for this Lumberjack team. Here's the 1-0 from Henning. Swings and misses on that one. Foul tipped it into the glove, and the count moves to 1-1. Swangham struck out in the first game. Hasn't struck out so far here, but he struck out in 10 of 12 games that he's played so far this season, 4 of them with multiple strikeouts. Count's all even, 1-1. Henning kicks and fires. He shows bunt, pulls it back, but that one in the dirt. 2-1 the count now.
I like the idea, though. Get the runners over. Brings up Mike Clarkson. Big Mike already homered earlier today. Don't mind that philosophy at all. Just move the runners over if possible. Just got to make sure you get it down.
And it'd be Marcus Smith behind Clarkson, who homered in the first game as well. So the power part of the lineup coming up for Boonville here. Here's the 2-1 from Henning. That one way up high. Fastball misses, and the count moves to 3-1. He's got to be careful, or else he'll walk the bases loaded.
At the same time, in Zeb Swangham's last at bat, he got almost all of the baseball, left it just a little bit shy at the warning track. But a guy who also has some pop here, he's shown that, no doubt, got a few bombs on the season as well. Be a good time for one right now.
Here's the 3-1. Swings and hits this one into left field. This one creeping and gets out of play. A long strike right there for Swangham, runs the count full.
What you don't want to do is strike out, though. Swangham, no strikeouts in today's game, but did have one in the last game.
Need to avoid that K here. The Lumberjacks have been a lot better than the 14 strikeout performance they put up last time in the first game. But still can always do better. They'll need something from Swangham right here. He awaits the delivery from Henning. Here's the payoff pitch. That one in the dirt, and he walks the bases loaded for Michael Clarkson. Not where you want to be if you're the Diamond Dogs, and that's going to be the end of the day for Henning. Going to be a call to the bullpen here as the Head coach Steve Luby comes out to grab his man Henning, and the day is done for him. New arm on the mound on the other side of the break. It's the bases loaded with no outs for Michael Clarkson. We'll be right back on the Boonville Sports Network after this. Back here in Boonville, it's a new arm out on the mound for the Diamond Dogs. He inherits a bases-loaded situation with no outs, but if there's anyone on this staff who can get it done, it's him.
Yeah, it's Brandon Lynn, who has a sub-1 ERA. He's pitched 11 innings so far. He's given up 1 run in that time and struck out 15. An absolute dog. And the Lumberjacks in Game 1, we were pretty frustrated in the booth. They had the bases loaded and no outs and did not get a guy in to score. Well, right here, Brandon Lynn is the type of guy who is deserving of a performance like that. It's Michael Clarkson, Marcus Smith, and Carson Beatty. Clarkson and Smith at least have shown to this team so far what they can do with barrels. Carson Beatty was hard line hit earlier today. He shows he can catch barrels too. But Michael Clarkson's job right now is to get a ball to the outfield. You don't got to go yard. You don't got to hit a home run. None of that. Just get a ball to the outfield or get a ball to the middle infield and just get at least 1 run here.
Lynn leads this team in qualified pitchers and ERA with a sub-1 and whip with just over 1.25. He's absolutely been their best arm out of the bullpen, and in a game that you really need to win if you're Mohawk Valley, this is when they choose to call on him.
Michael Clarkson.
Bases loaded for Michael Clarkson. He's already got a 2-run homer in this game, and the Boonville dugout gets loud for him.
Yeah, timely pitching change to get Henning out of the game.
It's a lot of fast guys out on base, though. Davis at second, Swangham at first, and Bischoff at third. Here's the first offering. That one in the dirt down low. 1-0 the count.
One thing Michael Clarkson told me in the dugout of the Glens Falls game on the road where the Lumberjacks were run ruled is that your batting average jumps 50% on a first pitch ball.
That next delivery is inside, almost hits Clarkson, and 2-0 the count now.
And almost 100 points on a 2-0 count. Whereas it drops 80 points to an 0-1.
So he's ahead 2-0, and this one needs to get something going for this Boonville team. A single likely scores 2. Here's the 2-0. Swings and fouls that one to the backstop as a loud reaction from the Boonville dugout. Count moves to 2-1.
Yeah, warning shot, you could call that, or at least is what Eli Negron would probably call that.
Clarkson does strike out quite a lot, though. Did 2 in his last game played against Utica on the season. He's struck out 4 times against Mohawk Valley. Here's the pitch. Swung on and hit up the middle. That one gets through. It bounces off second base, and 1 run scores. Davis rounds second. He will score as the throw to third is not in time. It's a stand-up double for Michael Clarkson, 2 RBIs, and the game is all tied at 4.
Very, very timely hitting right there. Of course, those runs will go to Henning, the previous pitcher, but way to jump on the new arm the way that they just did. He took that fastball right up the middle, worked a strong 2-1 count, got whatever pitch he wanted, was clearly sitting on the fastball and sent it right up the middle. I think it actually is favorable that that ball bounces off the second base bag, slows it a little bit, and allows both runners to advance, and now there's 2 on, both in scoring position for Marcus Smith.
Here's the third baseman, Smith. First pitch off speed is down low for a ball. Clarkson's had an absolutely monster day so far in this game. 3 at-bats. He's got 2 hits, one of them a double, and 4 RBIs. All 4 runs on the board are property of Michael Clarkson as the 0-1 swung on and missed. Count moves to 1-1.
Yeah, the player of the game in Game 1 undoubtedly will go to Jackson Baptist, who was fantastic. If the Lumberjacks can hold on today, right now all signs point to Big Mike.
Still a tie game, but not out of the woods yet for Brandon Lynn. There's still runners second and third. No outs in this one. Heart of the order. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and hit into right field. This one's going to go a long way. Hardy to the wall. It's gone! A 3-run shot for Marcus Smith, and he opens up this game. It's 7-4 Lumberjacks.
And he absolutely knew it. He didn't leave the batter's box for 3 seconds until that ball had landed deep into the trees. Marcus Smith have a day. That's his second of the day. First in Game 1, second Game 2 here, and that's 3 straight games with a homer. Marcus Smith, you are that guy.
They celebrate down there in the Boonville dugout. It's a 7-4 lead now, absolutely opening this game up. It's a 5-run bottom of the 5th here for Boonville. And they're really taking it to the Diamond Dogs now. The call to the bullpen. It was supposed to be the ironclad Brandon Lynn, who's come in and not only allowed all 4 runners to score, or all 3 runners that were on, but 2 more as well, as the first pitch outside on Beatty, 1-0 the count. It's been an absolute avalanche here in this bottom of the 5th inning under the lights. Not too bright for the Lumberjacks. Here's the 1-0, as that one in the dirt. 2-0 the count now on Beatty.
Lights are not too bright. No, that ball was crushed. I mean, that one was so deep into the trees. The right fielder, Hardy, pretty much could only give it a courtesy jog at that point. I mean, that ball was crushed.
2-0 is way outside as well, and Lynn, who was supposed to be the best arm in this bullpen, looks to be faltering a little bit out there on the mound. 3-0 the count now on Beatty with no runners on. Still no outs here in the bottom of the 5th. Here's the 3-0. That one outside, and he draws a 4-pitch walk. And Lynn, who only walked 3 batters so far this year, is slowly deteriorating out on the mound. That brings up the second baseman, Will Hill.
No, of course the runs that Clarkson drove in didn't belong to Lynn, but the double and home run that pursued after will absolutely belong to him. And Beatty on first will as well. Will Hill, now is a good opportunity for him to do some damage. And Braden Lynn, this is the second time. Think back to last Saturday when the Glens Falls pitcher Peyton Mather came in leading the league in strikeouts and had a meltdown here at Hanson Aggregates. We were mentioning before how people come and play the Lumberjacks and have incredible performances. Well, maybe it's the opposite for pitchers here, as right now Braden Lynn is getting himself into a bit of a jam as there's still no outs here in the bottom of the 5th. And more importantly, Lumberjacks are 6 outs away from sweeping the doubleheader.
2 very important wins if they can get it done. Hanson Aggregates obviously not an easy place to play for opposing players, as we've seen it today. Here's the first pitch on Guy. That one up high near the head, and 5 straight balls in a row for Lynn. Will Hill, so far in this game, he's flown out to left, flown out to right. Still needs to get a hit here in this one. Here's the 1-0. Checks on that one, but ultimately in there for a called strike. Will Hill has played 2 games against Mohawk Valley this year. He's just 1 for 7 with 1 RBI in those matchups. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and chopped to short. There will be no throw to second and no throw to first as well. The shortstop Valdez couldn't handle it. Bobbled it just for too long. And ultimately an infield single there for Will Hill. There's still no outs in the inning. And that brings up the first baseman, Ian Farber.
Yeah, for his size, Will Hill really, really moves. He's hit leadoff a few times for the Lumberjacks just because of his speed. And right there was no chance for a throw there. It's a slow ground ball. Third and short don't have great communication over there. Of course, that's a single, and Lumberjacks are really battling at the plate right now.
First pitch in there on Farber, who flew out and struck out so far today. Hasn't played too much this year, but he's trying to take advantage of his opportunities. Batting just 111 on the year. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and fouled to the backstop. 0-2 the count now. Farber still has struck out in every game he's played this year except for the last one against Mohawk or against Glens Falls. He's only got 2 RBIs, one of them being off of a walk, searching for another one right here. Swings and hits this one right up the middle. That gets through for a single. Being held up at third is the runner Beatty, and the bases are loaded yet again, second time in this inning, and it brings up the second baseman, Jihad Guy.
Yeah, a really late stop sign from CG on third, but I guess Beatty, I haven't seen him in practice personally. I can only assume that he doesn't move too well, and with no outs here, there's no reason to risk, a throw out at home and kill any momentum you have. Instead, give the opportunity to Jihad Guy to drive in an RBI.
So the Lumberjacks just 2 batters away from batting around here in this bottom of the 5th inning. An absolute disaster from the Diamond Dogs' perspective, considering they entered this inning with a 2-run lead. First pitch on Guy is in there for a called strike.
I don't know about that one. Jihad Guy is 5'7" on a good day, and that one looked like it was at his eyes.
Guy has struck out and was hit by a pitch in his last at-bat, down 0-1. Here's the pitch from Lynn. Swung on and hit right to the shortstop. Valdez makes the catch, and none of the runners advance anywhere. Jihad Guy set down for the second time in this one. That brings up the center fielder, Noah Reed.
I said it earlier about Zip Swingham's line out to left field, about that, how that's a summer at bat. You barrel a ball, but ultimately it's right at someone, and you don't really get too frustrated about it. Here with the bases loaded, obviously you want that to fall, but Jihad Guy, no reason to hang his head low after that. He lined it right at him. Just nothing you can do about that. And all you got to do is pass the stick to Noah Reed and say, hey, it's your turn.
So Reed stands in. He hits this first pitch into shallow right field. Coming in on it is Hardy, who makes the catch right on the foul line. Beatty fakes the tag. Ultimately, but there's a disaster. The runner from second goes. He slides back in there safe. Beatty tries to go back to home, but goes right back to third. And not exactly what they drew up right there. I'm not sure what was going on.
I'm not sure Will Hill knew that Beatty was faking going home. I mean, I'm pretty sure Beatty the entire time was never going to go home. That ball was not hit deep, and the throw home would have been in plenty of time. But Hill purely had his eyes on Beatty. He wasn't looking at the right fielder Hardy at all. And he realized he faked it a little too late. Head down sprinting, had to rush back to second base.
So ultimately it's Seth Bischoff who bats with the bases loaded, 2 outs. Here's the first pitch. That one down low in the dirt, 1-0 the count. Fastball misses. Bischoff is the guy who started off this inning. We said he just needed to get on to start something for the Lumberjacks. He was hit by a pitch and kick-started a 5-run bottom of the 5th here. Here's the 1-0 from Lynn. That one taken off speed up high for ball 2.
Yeah, I remember to start off the inning, I said it. Henning, his control was a little questionable with, 2 hit by pitches and 3 batters. Well, he then went on to hit Spanky Davis, and the Lumberjacks took some walks and hit around.
Here's the 2-0, taking inside for a strike. Fastball in there, 2-1 the count now. And Lynn has to get through Bischoff. Lineup flips over after Bischoff, the catcher, and that's something Lynn can't have. Here's the 2-1. Swings and fouls that one to the backstop. Hits off the bleachers here at Hanson Aggregates, and count moves to 2-2 with 2 outs. The bases are still loaded here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
This is a wildly successful inning for the Lumberjacks. Obviously, they've put up a 5 spot here, but they also had the bases loaded and no outs yet again. If Bischoff can't do anything here, that would be pretty disappointing to not capitalize on yet another bases loaded, no out situation.
Here's the 2-2 from Lynn. Swung on and missed right there. A foul tip as Bischoff slams the bat into the ground, and they leave him stranded for the second straight inning, but not before a 5 spot here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a great one here for the Lumberjacks as they take a 3-run lead heading into the top of the 6th. Evan Simbita and Brady Foxwell will be right back on the Lumberjacks Sports Network after this. Back here for the top of the 6th inning, it's Davon Abaga out there for his 2nd inning of work. For the Lumberjacks, first batter he faces is Roberto Valdez, the shortstop, who's reached on a fielder's choice and popped out to short so far today. Here's the first offering from Abaga. Checks his swing there. They'll say he went. Strike one, the call on Valdez. Valdez hasn't played since the Utica game for Mohawk Valley. He had 1 hit and 2 RBIs as Abaga steps off right there and wants a meeting with the catcher Bischoff. Ultimately, Valdez batting .250 in just 3 games played this year. This is 4th. He hasn't played against the Lumberjacks at all. Searching to get on and hopefully kickstart something for the Diamond Dogs. Bischoff walks back behind the plate as he gets ready. 0-1 the count here on Valdez, whose nickname is Pop. Hasn't showed it too much here today as the ball from him hasn't escaped the infield. Here's the 0-1 from Abaga. Checks on that one just outside. Thought that off speed was in there. Count moves to 1-1. Valdez is on a 2-game hit streak, one of them being for extra bases. Still looking to extend that streak to 3 here. The 1-1 is just outside. Fastball misses. Count moves to 2-1 now. Valdez hasn't struck out yet this year. He's been a limited sample size, only 3 games played for the freshman. Here's the next pitch. Chopped to the left side. That one foul. And the count moves to 2-2 now. Only game that he played this year without reaching base was his first one when he grounded out twice against Utica all the way back on June 16th. But now nearly a week and a half later, he's reached base in every other game. Still hasn't reached in this one, though. Count is even, 2-2 on the shortstop. Abaga gets the sign. He kicks and fires. Swing and a miss. Off speed got him in the dirt. And that is out number 1 in the inning. Valdez set down on strikes. That brings up the third baseman, Aiden Streeter.
Yeah, 5 outs away now from 5 straight wins, sweeping the doubleheader, and Abaga's looked great out there. You know, that off speed in the dirt got him swinging way on top of it, and when you match that with a plus fastball, it's Davon Abaga. I know he likes hitting. I know he likes playing the field. I just think he should make sure his options are open to pitching as well.
First off speed on Streeter misses outside. Count moves to 1-0. Streeter hasn't played since June 19th against Glens Falls. He had a hit and 2 walks in that game. Here's the 1-0 from Abaga. Almost hits him, that one to the backstop. Streeter had to move his head out of the way, and the count moves to 2-0.
Just a bit outside.
Streeter draws the walk at a very high rate. 5 walks and 5 strikeouts so far this year with a .450 on-base percentage. Hit a 2-run homer in his last plate appearance. Here's the 2-0. Swung on and chopped down the left side, but that's foul. 2 balls, 1 strike the count.
You know, if I'm Davon Abaga, Streeter is early on the fastball right there. What I'm doing here is off speed no matter what, hoping that he's either swings and misses over it or rolls over to the weak side towards Marcus Smith.
Here's the pitch. It's an off speed, but in the dirt. Couldn't fool Streeter on that one, and the count moves to 3-1. 4 hits on the year for Streeter, 5 with the homer. His previous 4 were all singles. The homer, his first extra base hit today. Here's the 3-1, and that one hits him, looks like top shoulder right there. So on effectively what was going to be a walk right there, he hits him.
Make him earn it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not an endorse. I do not endorse purposely hitting people with pitches.
So this brings up the center fielder, Jake Dolan, who singled in his last plate appearance, struck out in his first one today. This is his first game played for the Diamond Dogs during this summer. Check back from Abaga is not in time. Streeter dives back in there head first. Streeter, the only runner on in this inning. 1 out here for the 9-hole hitter, Jake Dolan. First offering is way up high. Off speed misses and quickly 1-0. Some movement down there in the Boonville bullpen. It's looks to be a couple guys warming up, but no one throwing too hard yet. Here's the 1-0. That one just high. Fastball misses, and 2-0 the count now.
Wouldn't be shocked to see bigger staff come in.
And it looks like that's going to be it for Abaga. Christian Griffin out here. He might pull him. He might just talk things over. But Abaga has looked to be missing a little bit of the command here in this inning.
Yeah, in the at-bat previous to Streeter, there's only one strike. Everything else was a ball not really even close, a few up and in towards his head. One even hit him, I believe, and two kind of uncompetitive pitches here against Dolan. So you don't just want to walk the bases loaded or let the first two guys on because the lineup is going to flip over, and it's Jake Hardy, the leadoff hitter, who would effectively be the tying run at the plate.
So they'll leave Abaga out there. 2-0, still the count on the center fielder Dolan. Abaga needs an out here, but he does already have one. Set down Valdez on strikes as the first batter in this inning. Dolan stands in from the right side. Here's the 2-0 from Abaga. That one above the head of Dolan, had to crouch down to avoid it, and 3-0 the count now on the Seton Hall commit who just graduated high school. Here's the 3-0. That one in there, fastball right down the middle, and the count moves to 3-1.
I think Dolan got the memo that you take 3-0.
Crenshaw, of course, was hooked for swinging on a 3-0 pitch in the first game. 3-1 is checked back on the runner, Streeter. He's in there safe.
Well, also that was because it was 3-0 with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
On a pitch that might have actually been ball 4.
Head coach Steve Luby not very forgiving on that one as the 3-1 misses outside. Dolan is on with a walk right there, and we'll have to see what happens. Runners on first and second. The lineup flips over for Jake Hardy, who's already reached base 3 times so far today. Single, double, and an error. Not the guy you want up in this situation.
Not at all.
So Dolan on for the second time today. Here's the first pitch from Abaga. That one above the head of Hardy, and I would have to assume that this is probably going to be Abaga's last batter that he faces in this game.
Yeah, and every pitch is missing up and in to righties consistently. I'm not sure if it's glove side falling off for Abaga or what it is, but it's something that has to be corrected.
Next one is swung on and fouled back to the broadcast booth. That one hits off of the roof. And
I would have made a play on that, by the way. I swear I was settling right under that. I was a little worried for my computer and the camera setup. I'm not going to lie, though.
Count moves to 1-1 on Hardy, the Fairfield University sophomore. Here's the 1-1 from Abaga. Swung on and hit into left field, coming in onto this hill, but that one gets down for a single. Throws to his cutoff man, Swangham, who picks it up. And it looks like that's going to be the day for Davon Abaga. He leaves the bases loaded with 1 out. And Nolan Colby, top of the order here.
Bat number 44.
Christian Griffin makes the slow walk over to the pitcher's mound, and Devo knows that that is his day. Bases loaded, a 3-run advantage for the Lumberjacks as they receive their pitcher down in the dugout. It'll be a new arm out on the mound after this. We'll be right back after a short break here on the Lumberjacks Sports Network. Back here in the top of the 6th inning, still no damage done, but bases loaded, just 1 out and a call to the bullpen.
Yeah, it's the lefty Spencer Biggerstaff. He's been pretty good for the Lumberjacks in fielding and hitting, technically, long story. Anyways, he has a 4.66 ERA. It's been 5 appearances for 9.2 innings pitched. About to get his 10th with this batter, assuming he records an out. 5 earned runs, 12 walks to 10 strikeouts. 12 walks, of course, in 9 innings pitched is something to be concerned about with the bases loaded here, but I feel like in times where he needs to, he buckles down and throws strikes.
First one outside there. Want to know the count on the next hitter, Nolan Colby, the second baseman.
Ubaga obviously responsible for all 3 runners on right here, but it's the tying run on first that's the scariest.
Here's a 1-0, swung on and hit up the middle. That one gets down for a single. 1 run scores, waving around third is the next batter, and that one not even close. The throw not in time. So that was Aiden Streeter scoring right there.
Kyle Coleman.
Evan, that's why I was kind of frustrated when the Lumberjacks loaded the bases yet again and didn't get anyone home. That's the second time today that they load the bases and don't score anyone. That's supposed to happen like once a month, that not one person scores, not twice in one day.
So now just a 1-run advantage for the Lumberjacks. This one hit high into shallow right field. Guy is underneath it who makes the catch for out number 2.
Yeah, I believe that was the infield fly no matter what. So clutch out for the Lumberjacks right there, who still lead. But, if they could have just grabbed one more run right there, 8-6 sounds a lot better than 7-6.
So that brings up the designated hitter, Brody Freaker, who's flown out twice and hit a double so far today. Needs to be a big out here from Biggerstaff. Here's the first delivery. Swung on and chopped down the middle. This one picked up by Guy, who tags second base, and that ends the inning. Biggerstaff limits the damage to 2, and Boonville keep their advantage. It's down to 1, though. We'll be right back for the bottom of the 6th inning after this. Back here in Boonville, it's the bottom of the 6th inning here at top of the order for the Lumberjacks, and it's a familiar face out on the mound, a new one for the Diamond Dogs.
Yeah, he's not in the lineup for Game 2, but he was for Game 1. It's the righty out of Brown University, Hirsch Ramayana Menkat. He does it really well on the offensive side of the ball, hitting around 350 for the season. Pitching, he's pretty good, at least for PGCBL standards, with a 6.75 ERA, and that's in 5.1 innings pitched. He's given up 4 runs, walked 3, also struck out 3, and well, is about as, to put it lightly, about as average as most PGCBL pitchers are. Kind of similar stats to all of those, but for someone who also hits, these are incredible numbers. Now he faces the Lumberjacks, top of the lineup, who look to add a little bit more insurance before they hope to close it out in the 7th.
Just 3 outs away from a 5th straight victory, but have to battle and would like some insurance. First pitch on the batter, Kanias Davis, is in there for a called strike. Fastball in there. They really need some good runs here. Obviously, the closer, Tyson Harmon, pitched in the first game, so he's not available, as the 0-1 is just outside. Fastball misses. Here's the 1-1 from Venkot. Outside, fastball misses yet again. 3 straight heaters from the Brown University freshman. His last pitching appearance was just 1 inning long. Didn't allow any runs. Here's the 2-1. And that one in there for a called strike. Did allow a hit, but no walks and 1 strikeout from Venkot. Very impressive in that last one, but a 6.75 ERA on the year. Davis calls time. We'll see if the Lumberjacks can take advantage of it. Scoring late in games hasn't been their forte so far this year, but this is the inning they need to do it. Here's the 2-2. In there for a called third strike. Just clips the outside part of the zone. And Kanias Davis set down looking. That brings up Zeb Swangham.
Yeah, Venkot, we haven't seen him pitch before, so I am not really fully sure what to expect. He seems like an overall all-around athlete, but I mean, that was a great sequence of pitches versus Kanias Davis ultimately gets him looking.
First pitch on the next hitter, Zeb Swangham, is outside for ball 1. Obviously, the Lumberjacks don't score too many runs late in games, but this is where we saw the go-ahead homer from Marcus Smith in Game 1. As this one is hit into right field. Hardy can't make the catch as that one hits off the wall. Swangham hustling towards second. He slides in there head first, and he is out.
What a throw. Oh, my goodness. Jake
Absolutely
Hardy.
gunned down from right field. Jake Hardy made that throw from the warning track all the way to second base on a line to get out Swangham, and now there's 2 outs for Michael Clarkson.
Yeah, Swangham can run, but right there, I mean, he hit it incredibly hard, and full credit to Jake Hardy throwing that ball all the way from the Elks Lodge sponsor sign out in right field, and it was a perfect one-hop to the shortstop Valdez, who applied the tag. I mean, if I'm Zeb Swangham, I'm absolutely trying to hustle for second on that. By default, most balls to the wall are doubles.
First
It's
pitch.
unfortunate it doesn't land for a double.
First pitch on Clarkson is outside. Fastball misses. 1-0 the count. 2 outs here in this inning. No runners on for the big righty. Here's the pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike. We don't have a radar gun out there today, but Venkot looks to be throwing some gas out there on the mound.
Yeah, well, his fastball velo was marked to be 90 miles an hour back in 2024 with perfect game, and I imagine it's only increased since then. He's put on more weight. It's just grown into his body more. I would have to guess somewhere in the low 90s, maybe 90, 91. And it's clearly a little difficult for these Lumberjack hitters.
Here's the 1-1 on Clarkson, who fouls that one back and out of play. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, it was a warning shot from Michael Clarkson right there as he fouled that one back.
Clarkson so far in this game, he's been the best player. 2-run homer in the first inning, grounded out in the third, but then had a 2 RBI double. Next pitch is chopped to the left side, picked up by the third baseman Streeter, who throws out Clarkson to end the inning. So the Lumberjacks go 1-2-3 here in crunch time, but it's not over yet. They need 3 more outs to clinch the 5th straight win. We'll have that and more for you on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. 3 more outs is all the Lumberjacks need to put a stamp on win number 5 in a row. It's Spencer Biggerstaff back out there. This one hit by the catcher Joe Crenshaw, who's the batter into the Boonville dugout. 0-1 the count on that foul ball.
Headed to the bullpen is Big Michael Clarkson, in case he's needed. Biggerstaff needs to get 3 outs here. They're not going back to Harmon. I actually thought that was something CG would consider doing, but nope, it's the lefty.
0-1 is chopped to the left side, picked up by Swangham and throws him out. Close play over there. Crenshaw was hustling down the line, but ultimately was not quick enough. That's 1 out in the inning, and it brings up Wesley Alfonso.
Number 38, Wesley Alfonso.
Man, I feel like everybody on this Diamond Dogs team can hit, and Crenshaw, for a catcher, moved really well down the line. There's a possibility of him beating that out, just barely didn't. But honestly, I feel like this lineup never gets easier to face from the Lumberjack side.
And it looks like there could be a possibility of a pinch hitter down there. Jaden Santiago ready for the Diamond Dogs to come in, who's not in the lineup for this game, too. Next batter is Wesley Alfonso, who takes ball 1. Alfonso with a hit by pitch, a walk, and a strikeout today. 1-0 is swung on and missed. Fastball was blown by him. Count moves to 1-1, and it looks like Santiago going to be a pinch runner. He's warming up and down the Mohawk Valley dugout if anyone can get on. Wesley Alfonso, here's the 1-1. Swung on and fouled to the backstop. 1-2 the count now. Alfonso has had 2 hits today, 1 in this game, a double in the first, a single in this one. He's down 1-2 here. His team needs him to get on. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. Off speed, had him missing, and 2 outs in the inning. They're down to their final, and it's going to be Roberto Valdez for the Diamond Dogs.
Number 6, Roberto Valdez.
Beauty of a pitch right there.
Pinch hitting is going to be Connor Scanlon, actually.
Correction, number 9, Connor Scanlon.
So Scanlon, who did play in the first game, he had 3 at-bats and struck out all 3 times in that first appearance so far today. And it's with 2 outs here in the bottom of the top of the 7th inning. If he's out, the game is over. And Boonville needs Spencer Biggerstaff to get a big out right here.
Yeah, Scanlon, a true first baseman, I believe. I guess if this game continues, either this is his only at-bat, he gets subbed out for another shortstop, or he'd play the field.
First pitch is in there for a called strike. Heater just clipped the outside zone, so 0-1 the count now on Scanlon. It was Roberto Valdez who went to the bench. Hadn't reached yet today as the 0-1 swung on and fouled back, and quickly down to their last strike here. Scanlon struck out 3 times in the first game. That's been a problem for him all year with 10 Ks in 16 games. And hoping to avoid another one here. Biggerstaff's got him down 0-2. Here's the crucial pitch. Swung on and fouled back and out of play. Count remains at 0-2. Masai Marshall gesturing to the fans to get on their feet here.
The fans that are still here or not at the top of the hill watching from their trucks.
Boonville hunting for their 5th win in a row. Here's the pitch. That one up high. 1-2 the count now. And they haven't won 5 games in a row all year. During this winning streak, this is the first time all season they've won multiple games in a row at any point.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 in a row was also a stretch.
Here's the 1-2. Just outside on Scanlon. Count moves to 2-2.
That wasn't that close now. You know, I get that's not a just. That one missed.
Scanlon, a power hitter, .418 slugging percentage. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a foul to the backstop. Boonville players hustle over to collect that one. Count remains 2-2.
Gotta say, he's making him work. Not swinging at the bad pitches and fouling off the good ones.
Scanlon in 16 games this year has 15 hits. 2 of them walks, or 2 of them doubles, 2 of them homers. He'll need one here to extend the game. Here's the 2-2 from Biggerstaff. In the dirt, and the count runs full. Jaden Santiago, the catcher by trade, waits by the Mohawk Valley dugout. If Scanlon gets on base, he won't even go to first. It'll be Santiago who comes in for him. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and hit into right field, and Davis makes the leaping catch, and the game is over. 5 straight wins for Boonville. They beat the second-place team twice in the same day, and they're one spot out of a playoff position.
Yeah, Kanias Davis in right field with an incredible grab, and the Lumberjacks are hot. There's no other way to put it. That's 5 straight wins. Lumberjacks not too long ago were 1-8. Now they're 6-9. They have been hooping recently, to say the least. And man, it's been fun to watch. 1-7, excuse me. They have been 5-2 over the last week, including some really tough losses. But since that locker room speech where coach was telling them you're a new team, it's inspiring to watch these guys play. And that's the 6-7 victory over Utica on Sunday. Another close 6-7 victory here. Jacks are hot.
They entered the day at 5-9 in 6th place. They'll leave the day at 7-9, creeping close to that 500 number, and also creeping closer to a playoff spot. Of course, last year was the first time in Boonville Lumberjacks history that a team had ever gone 500. They finished exactly 20-20 and 1 tie, and also the first time they'd ever made the playoffs. But this team making great strides to get even closer and become the second team in a row to do that. Head coach Christian Griffin and his men are absolutely flying. 5 straight, 2 against the second team in the PGCBL East. And this team just keeps playing great baseball. It was behind 2 power hitters really today. It was Michael Clarkson with 4 RBIs and Marcus Smith with 3 in this one. They represented all of the offensive output for this Lumberjacks team, and an absolutely massive result. Looking ahead, if this team can keep winning, who's going to stop them?
I'm not really sure. I think the best test for that will be on Friday when they play against Amsterdam, a team that, run-ruled them and kind of, destroyed them. There's no other way to put it. It was never a close game. 1-11 was the finish of that time when they were in Amsterdam. And, that was a team that was, at the time, not playing competitive baseball at all. The Lumberjacks were also run-ruled by the Glens Falls Dragons. So there's really no way to say there's no measurement to say how good a team has been, because over the last week they've been the hottest team in the PGCBL, minus maybe the Amsterdam Mohawks, who have been playing incredible baseball. So Friday's matchup will be a really interesting measure to see whether or not the Lumberjacks are seriously about it, or if that's just going to be a bump in the road for them. But we'll see. Right now I wouldn't want to play the Lumberjacks no matter who I was.
Yeah, 5 games, the current win streak. It's the second longest streak that is still active in all of the PGCBL. Amsterdam, with that 9-game win streak, they look to extend that to 10. They're ahead of Utica by 5 runs in the bottom of the 7th. So we'll keep.
Lumberjacks also leapfrog the Utica Blue Sox in the standings, which has got to feel pretty good for a team that talks a lot despite being multiple games worse than the Lumberjacks at this point.
Yeah, crucial win over them on Sunday. That was a very big one for this Lumberjack team. Ultimately, that was game 3 of the win streak. 1 and 2 were against Glens Falls in the doubleheader, and now 4 and 5 in another doubleheader. The Boonville Lumberjacks undefeated in doubleheaders so far this season, and they just really keep on rolling. The bats are going. The pitching, Eric Shepard, wasn't his best today, but ultimately gave his team a decent chance to go out there and win. And won't get the victory in this one, but did do a serviceable job out there for his team, and ultimately that was his best start of the year.
100%. In the PGCBL, I feel like ERA is pretty over. I feel like ERA is only important when it's a really low number. If it's an ERA like 6, 7, 8, that could be a very competent pitcher who just had a bad outing. What really shocked me today was the outing from the reliever that the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs put in Braden Lynn, who has been fantastic all season. But Lumberjacks, again, I'm telling you, I wouldn't want to face them either. They got really hot Michael Clarkson, of course, the player of the game in Game 2. At least he'll be rewarded. Make sure to follow on all Boonville social media at Boonville Lumberjacks on Instagram and Facebook as well. He'll be the player of the game, and it will be Jackson Baptist for Game 1. incredible performances all around. You know, what I really like the most about the Lumberjacks team is that they are fun to watch right now, and that hasn't been the case for most of these games they've played.
Well, we talked to Christian Griffin. I mean, he told us to expect a different ball club after that loss against Glens Falls, after that loss against Oneonta, which is the next team that the Lumberjacks play. That'll be on Friday. Or that'll be, Amsterdam on Friday. That'll be 6:35. Obviously, Amsterdam, the team with what will probably be a 10-game win streak after tonight. And they're going to be throwing a new arm in that one. It's going to be Jalen Fullwood. We haven't seen him yet. He just graduated after being an NAIA champion with Tennessee Wesleyan, and hopefully he can go out there and shove and give this team a decent chance.
Yeah, well, the Lumberjacks recently just departed from Logan Brock, who had to leave for the summer. But in the time that he was here, I'm sure he enjoyed his time here and pitched pretty well for the Lumberjacks as well. And, you know, when he commits to his new school soon, I'm excited to see that announcement. Glad to be, you know, a small bump in his journey. It was fun having him here. But with that being said, we need a new arm to replace that. It will be Jalen Fullwood. And Christian Griffin is seriously excited, and that's kind of the reason why Fullwood didn't pitch today, is because he wanted his best chance against Amsterdam on Friday, and he feels that Fullwood, for healthy pitchers, is the best one available.
Yeah, Logan Brock did have an appearance against Amsterdam. He went 4 innings for 5 runs, only 4 of them earned. Hopefully Fullwood can do a little bit better than that. Ultimately, it was the bats that was the issue last time out against Amsterdam. Eli Negron had the only RBI of that game, which was a solo shot to left field. But
Crushed it.
with the bats right now, they're swinging absolutely amazing, and I don't know. I think they'll have a really decent shot against probably the best roster in the PGCBL East.
Again, I'm telling you, it's a measure to see, you know, how hot they actually are. If they can knock off the Amsterdam Mohawks too, that really tells you something. I mean, Amsterdam that day was throwing in a really tough arm, and a kid who literally pitched for Wake Forest. That's one of the top teams in the ACC. So that was obviously a tough task for them. Lumberjacks hitters at the time just weren't up for it. But the way they've been swinging the bat recently and this past week, I wouldn't put anything past them at this moment.
Ultimately, to look ahead for this Boonville team, it's Amsterdam on Friday. They've got an off day tomorrow to reset before that big matchup. Then they travel to Utica on Saturday, another familiar foe. And then Sunday is the one that I would circle on your calendar, a doubleheader in Saugerties against the Stallions. That will be a very big one. This team will be back at Robert Smith Sports Complex on Tuesday. It'll be nearly a full week before they play any more games here, but that will be another one against Mohawk Valley. Hopefully they can keep the good times rolling against the Diamond Dogs, but ultimately 2 very important wins here for the Lumberjacks. Your player of the game, Michael Clarkson, who had that 2-run homer in the first inning as well as a 2 RBI double in the 5th. Had 2 groundouts outside of that, but a great night from the extra hitter. And that will do it for us here in Boonville. 7-6, your final score here. 2 good victories for the Lumberjacks to extend that winning streak to 5 games. I'm Evan Simbita alongside Brady Foxwell signing off. We thank you for sticking with us here tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.